you can. My goal is for everyone to become a little bit more aware of health and maybe take it a little bit more seriously than we actually do in life. And we think that nothing can ever happen. Um, and by the end of this session, I would like for everyone to come up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 steps that everyone can do for themselves to better their health, to improve it, to feel better. Because there is absolutely, guys, I'm telling you, after my doctor, and I'll get into details, told me that, I was 9 probably. So we have an in-person people here. Yeah. That I was very close to kind of being in coma and possible death. That kind of sparkled some new insights. So, full disclosure, I'm doing it first time when I have live and Zoom and people in person.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah,
You're so
no
brave.
problem. Yeah, I live
This-
close by, so I was like, it's
Okay. All right. Awesome. Awesome. So I was just saying that the goal here is to kind of probably get into the space where we think a little bit more about our health, think more about things that we can do and improve every day. And I'm going to start with my personal journey, which I swear I would never think. Like, if you told me, I don't know, like 5 years ago that, hey, Julia, you're going to end up with diabetes, I would be like, what? There is no way. There is no way. Me, I'm super healthy. I'm working out. I'm 80% very clean, 20% somewhere, I was allowing some sweets and stuff like that. But I think there was a very like a turning point in my life. And I just want you to tell this exact, like, I guess, period of life and describe it. So maybe you can relate, because I think it's also correlates closely to the I am capable of everything, stress doesn't matter. And especially now in our society, it's almost feels like everyone is screaming to your face, you're not doing enough, or like you can do better, there are more things to accomplish, let's go. And not a lot of people actually talk about, hey, maybe there's an actual, like, kind of stop point where you should take a break, you should, like, go on vacation for a week. But what on the back of our heads is like, oh, but money, who's gonna pay me, I'm gonna lose money. But we don't realize that, overall, in the long run, we're gonna lose money and health and sleep and, many other things. Let me let more people in. So, to be completely honest, I think, every choice of our life leads to the outcome, to the specific outcome. And I'm gonna say that I wasn't taught how to make better choices, especially when it comes to food, when it comes to well-being. I was born in Belarus. Our food culture is kind of mayonnaise, crepes, condensed milk, like all the yummy stuff, right? So that I grew up eating not really, yeah, it was like whole food and stuff like that, because we all have farms, we have our, eggs. I was drinking milk literally right from the cow. But um what we cook with this, with this food wasn't really a proper way to kind of, go about your life. So when I hit like 14 or 15, that's where the fun began. Drinking. Like, oh, everybody knows that stigma about, like, Russians and Belarusians, they all drink. They all drink heavily. So I wish right now, I wish I knew that somebody actually would, like, come to me and say, hey, if you drink right now and that heavily, you're gonna end up in a very bad place. Because that didn't cross my mind, or if you eat certain way. So I think what led to me being diagnosed with diabetes, because everything is connected. Your liver, all the organs, liver especially very affected by alcohol. in any capacity, like whether you want it or not. Even like it's oh, it's just a glass of wine, it's still a glass of wine, it's still not a glass of water. So your liver still has to go through detoxification and work hardly to get this alcohol out. And I'm not preaching for anyone to stop. I'm like a month and couple days sober, so I completely cut any alcohol from my life. And I'm gonna say, I I thought that I could never feel that, as good as I feel right now. Like I thought that alcohol is kind of in a way that kind of agent that socialize people, and I feel good and like nothing happens. But being sober for that long, I'm gonna say that there hasn't been a time when I was like, wow, I have so much power and so much energy inside of me. I don't experience any hangover. I'm like super energetic. So going back to alcohol, right? So that was the choice. And it started pretty early in life. Then it was obviously food, right? So, and the reason why I'm also, I wanted to do this so people also know how they treat their kids. Because I see, and I used to work as a bartender. So when, there's a party getting kind of like a or event, what parents do to shut off their kids, they give them Coke. It's like French fries cooked in that, nasty oil, because they don't know how to deal with them, right? So they didn't teach them to eat healthy from the beginning because maybe they also didn't know. So if you never thought about getting into healthier lifestyle, think about how it's going to impact your kids as well, whether you have kids, whether you don't have kids, but that affects generations. So think about, your lineage further along the line. So pretty much alcohol, food choices, um, and when you're like a teenager, you kind of don't care about your health, right? You're like, you come home at 5 a.m. in the morning, 7 a.m. you're already in the college sitting and like taking math exam, something like that. So like quite bad decisions also over there. Obviously my parents weren't, they didn't know about it because teenagers also can good, they're good liars. So I was kind of masking that up, so my mom probably never knew, but I told her later on. Then I'm kind of like trying to gather all the events so you see the link, right? So it doesn't happen overnight. It wasn't like something that just boom and I have diabetes next day. I believe I need to gather all the events that happened so in my life I would not do that again, and I want to actually have some sort of a good amount of fear there, because I was very close to just dying, like, and it maybe it feels dramatic right now, but I something like dropped in me when the doctor told me this thing. So pretty much when I moved to New York by myself alone, I'm an immigrant. I had to build a lot of strengths and a lot of I don't care about my health. And again, I did not know anything about this. There is no education like around healthy eating, around stress management, around mental health, right? Like right now, I see, that's one of my missions. I'm trying to get more people to kind of understand certain things, that it's not whatever. No, it's very important. It's very important the way you treat your health, the way you actually take care of yourself, because it may not, nothing may happening now, but in 5 years you may experience that and you would be like, I don't want you to regret anything in your life. Like, so a lot of things were happening in New York. Obviously stressful night, obviously there's a new environment, new language. I had tremendous amount of stress just getting over and through, navigating in new environment. Then I became a bartender, and what did I do? I tried all the cocktails, like when I was like just starting. I'm like, yep, let me try this blueberry martini and this espresso martini, like, so I know how it tastes. And obviously parties. I think that period of my life is literally like a huge fog. Like I really can recall specific memories because it's always been stress, 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 drink, 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 stress, sleep, stress, drink. That's it. right? So, and it's been going on for quite a while. Then my marriage happened, which also kind of took a huge toll on my health. And when I decided to become fitness coach and nutritionist, that's where I had like the realization that, you know, you are what you put in your body, literally. Like some nutritionists would say you are what you digest, but yeah, technically you are what you eat. And when I was coaching my clients, because first of all, there's a lot of mental health around eating, right? So there's emotional eating, there's also like comforting eating. When you feel bad, what do? You eat. It kind of, your body gets those kind of release of dopamine and you feel good for a moment. It's like you're smoking, right? The same thing. People smoke because it increases dopamine and they kind of feel that they relax and something like that. So it all comes down, first of all, to like reducing stress. So I would say if anything you can do from this seminar today, webinar, meeting, is to take a look at your life, and you know more than anyone where there is a stress factor that really takes a huge toll on your health, that you may be overthinking, or and decide, like for me, when my doctor told me you are 9 points of your sugar level away from coma, believe me, there was no like, oh, should I think about this more, should I think about those activities that were stressing me out. It was no, it was I cut them off right away. Like, oh, I'm not stressing over this anymore, I'm not stressing over that, I'm also not doing this. It was a very rapid decision. I did not have time to think. It was just like, because I knew that if I continue the same way, even about thinking about stuff, you know, like about what I do, about, oh, am I delivering enough? How can I serve more people? That also can, you know, become super overwhelming. Oh, the world is, you know, fucked, and, you know, nothing that I can do about it. Let's go and cry. Let's go into the depression mode. No, I had a session today with a client, and she had that kind of like mindset about, like, you know, it's very heavy what's happening right now around the globe, right? Like the nothing super exciting. And also remember, news are getting, you know, attention because they broadcast those bad news, right? Like, so we don't see like, oh, here we go, this is the child who learned how to walk today, or this is a happy grandma. Like, we don't see that. We see the negative stuff. So surround yourself with things that makes you happy, that make you happy, things that actually, you know, energize you and fulfill you. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going here, because your environment is literally like your everything. If you put yourself into a stressful environment, you're going to be stressed as well. People, also people, the same thing, right? Yes, well, maybe not the, you know, butterflies and unicorns right now, but what can you do about it? Like, you know, speak for yourself, be a change you want to see in the world. So start with yourself, start treating yourself right. If you don't know anything about nutrition, and I honestly, I think there's just there would be a crime not to know anything about nutrition, because literally there's so many information out there, you know. But just don't get into the, this is the diet that's the best diet, like carnivore, right? Like, I know, I eat meat, so, but I also do not support when there's aggressive kind of like hateful behavior from any group who's like carnivore is the thing, and let us all shit on you know, vegetarians. No, we all have choice. So be mindful about just being in a balanced diet, in a balanced nutrition. If you don't know how to be in a balanced nutrition, hire a coach for, and this is at least how I used to do my practice. I take on a client and we work until the client says, hey, you know what? I actually get everything. Like, I understood how to do this and I'm good. And I was teaching them everything because I don't want to babysit anyone, you know, like I want everyone to have their own choice and their freedom of choice. So if you are about, like, you know, if you want to find the coach, then see how this coach does their practice, right? Like, ask questions and get to know yourself, get to know your body, what you like, keep it freaking simple. I think that we complicate a lot of things, and this is another thing that I've heard from a lot of clients. Oh, is this a meal plan? What about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Saturday? What about next week? What about? I'm like, well, if I give you a different meal plan for every day, you're gonna lose your mind cooking, because it's different meal, different ingredients, and just it's going to be so frustrated for your body to actually even digest what you eat. So get your body to know what you eat, set the plan that you like. I'm on the same plan for quite a while. Like, I think I got that part right, at least after kind of becoming more familiar and like educating myself and becoming a nutritionist. So that part is essential. Everything starts there. So if you right now know that you may be emotionally eating, maybe it's a comforting eating, maybe something else. I believe that it's always some sort of a trauma behind it, right? And trauma, we use this word so everybody understands, but obviously like some sort of a thing. I had a client, she was eating more because she was kind of bullied when she was little, and we got into this like later on, and we discovered this. So we did some mental work first. So if you feel like you something that you can, you know um, um, do on your own, hire a person who can help you, help, right? So moving forward, I was traveling a lot, and obviously there were times where I was super good, but I was also competing, and that's another point that I want to bring here. And people ask me, "Hey, I want to compete," and you know, honestly, I would say no. Like, I would not take on a client who's competing. I have one, but her genetics are so freaking good that she's natural. I was also natural. I wasn't like using any steroids, but a lot of women do, a lot of coaches. And I had people literally contacting me, and we were, getting together because their hormones were so fucked up that they could not get out of that. It's very easy to mess it up, very easy, very hard to tune it back on into the normal state. So if anybody who's watching right now on IG want to compete, I would say you have to be in a very good state, mental state, and have amazing relationship with food. Amazing. Where I didn't have amazing relationship with food. I battled like overweight because my entire family is quite fluffy, both sides, mom and dad. So I had to limit myself extra and do extra mile to get on stage and like win. So I developed that bad relationship with food. And I remember just opening up a fridge and eating spinach just because there's like very low calories. And I was on prep, and I was literally shoving like spinach into my mouth because I was so hungry. Hunger never went away. So if you're not in an absolutely amazing state, I would not recommend competing. So that, I think, also like impacted what happened afterwards, right? I'm not regretting that I competed. I think those were very amazing years of my life. Um, and I would probably do it all over again, but a little bit differently, a little bit more intelligence, like more, a better coaches that I, had back then. So that, I think that also was a thing. And I'm gonna just move forward into when I moved to Austin, because that's where actually it happened. And Austin is an amazing place. I love it here. Amazing community. I already married to the state, so I have my driver license and my car plates. So I'm officially married. But it was very tough because when I got here, also, like, I'm gonna skip certain details just because I don't think they matter. But there was a lot of stressful mental kind of like conflicts that were going on with people who I was engaged. So every day was something, and I was also studying. And then it was like a stress of finding clients, kind of need to pay bills, right? So that was pretty much very sleepless period of my life where the stress, and I wasn't really eating like enough, I would say, to kind of support that energy flow that I needed. So after that, my friend hired me to be in a social media agency, and I was kind of excited just because I love it. I love social media, I love marketing. Why not? And I wanted to gain some experience. In the middle of it, I had my new fit machine that I'm renting, which cost like $20,000. I left it in the car, and just because it was raining, just like today, and I'm like, you know what? It's just one night. What happens? So in the morning, I'm getting out to walk my dog, and I see a broken window and a panic attack. Like I thought I'm gonna just like die right there because I immediately thought that, okay, that's exactly what they took, probably. And yeah, that's exactly what they took. So I'm standing there shaking. I'm already late to work. That's just everything happened. I'm trying to also remember all the tools I teach and all the things like, the centering techniques, the kind of breathing stuff. I'm like, okay, I want it to work. So I had to call the work. Then I obviously called a person who was renting me this machine. And that was just another kind of hard thing to say. Hey, what's up? By the way, machine was got stolen because I left it in the car, right? So responsibilities, and I knew they are on my shoulders. So that was the event that like happened afterwards. Did I take care of my mental health? No. Did I actually allow myself day 2 3 to even process it, like even cry out loud, even whatever? No, because I'm like, oh, I need to go. Like if I don't do anything, so my mind, and if you're like this, just learn. Smart people learn from mistakes of others, and I'm kind of from a different part. So, so I'm telling you my mistakes so you can be smart about it. So I didn't allow myself to, digest, rest, cry, whatever, stop for a second and just not to say, hey, everything okay. No, but just acknowledge the situation. My mind went into next step, next step, next step. What we're gonna next? Let's call this person, la la la. So I went like immediately went to solving this problem, right? And it may be great, but I think we're all different. Maybe for me it wasn't. And the reason why I started talking about like years ago, so you can see the connection, right? Like the pattern that I had over years. Um, so after that, I'm going to, if you believe in miracles, I'm going to fix my window, and I'm kind of praying to God. I'm like, look, and we were very in a very good relationship with him. Um, I'm like, if you let me find my machine, I'm just literally gonna rent myself out to you, whatever I need to do, whatever the message you want me to, convey to people, I'll do that. So as you may guess, I came home. I found the machine standing on a different side of my building in a different kind of like it's like a hallway with a door which leads nowhere. I don't know. So probably homeless person stole the machine, open it up, bunch of wires. What should I do with this? Like I can't really even sell it. And he left it there, or she. So but even that happiness was a tremendous stress. Even that amount of like relief was already. So what did I do? Instead of just kind of relaxing into the day, getting some good sleep, I'm like, no, I'm gonna go on the concert. I need that, rock and roll. So point number two. Now next morning, I sat down, at the company meeting, and bunch of things happened, and I knew at one point that it's kind of gonna go there because I see that I wasn't doing what I want to do, like neurographics and more things for people, because that part was taking a lot of my time. And that morning was a very important meeting, and for some reason my computer logged in me to a different account where I'm standing in a competition mode. So here we go, all people seeing me in the bikini, and I'm like, all right, don't panic. It's already there. There's nothing you can do. So obviously I got a call, and they asked me to kind of like say goodbye. And, it's another thing that was kind of like, it wasn't shocking for me, but at some point I just thought, look, if like you were cutting people off the company, and I know that, so you probably should have just told me that, a little bit earlier. But the interesting part of it is that they were paying for my apartment, which I got in February. And what happened, it was March, in the beginning of March. So they were paying for apartment. I'm out of this job. Woo, safety. My basic needs weren't met at that point. So obviously there's a lot of anxiety, or like there's just, and funny enough, I even didn't want to sleep at that point or eat. Like I just stopped doing those things completely, because I was all I could think of is to how to get out of this situation. And that's the point that I want to make here. Believe that everything will turn out just for you. Don't be overstressed. There's no way in my life, never ever, I could have avoided so much stress if I just learned how to believe. And this time around, also, everything turned out just great. I found apartment, another one, overnight. I moved the next day. But before that, I stressed myself out for a couple of weeks, literally, because I'm like, oh my God, what was gonna happen? What's gonna happen? So believe in yourself. Believe that universe won't let you, be on the street. Probably never happened. So why would it happen right now, right? So that's a point number two. Next one, I got into a relationship. That was a relationship. That relationship triggered a very old trauma that I did not exist, daddy trauma. And I don't think I ever shared this, but my dad wasn't really around me when I was little. And I had a very strong feeling that my dad didn't want a girl, that he wanted a boy. So he was playing with my cousin, and I was kind of like watching them. He took me to fishing. I'm like, really, dad? I'm 5 years old. Do you think I'm going to enjoy fishing? And I'm a girl, like, no, like sitting silently. No, like, no, so my dad kind of was there, but he was there as a part of the furniture, to me at least. So he never took any initiative. I never heard I love you. He never showed up on my dancing concerts or any competition I had. He never said, I'm proud of you. None of that. So that issue is basically about this. Whoever had it, we have a tendency to find a person who's very close to the character of our dad. And mind you that if you haven't worked with that trauma or like process it, you're gonna find exactly the same character, and he's gonna prove you that, yeah, you're not worthy of his love. So that's what happened to me, and that's what was the pattern I knew. But I didn't see it in the beginning because it was a lot of like love bombing, and like, oh, everything is so great and like so fast, and like, all the talks. And then all of a sudden, I felt that, and it's interesting that I didn't even see it happening. Like to me, it was just a weird feeling inside that I'm kind of not in my nature, that something is not right. Like, right? So because this person worked at night and he's still working there, I went into the nighttime life, drinking, partying, getting home like 12 1 a.m., and then just waking up at 6. So not enough sleep, not enough recovery, a lot of just party party party. And obviously I was avoiding certain things by doing that. So somewhere along the line I was like, I don't feel like myself, and I think it's actually me. So I sat down, I did some neurographics, I cried like a lot, because that's where I realized that, ooh, like I was choosing guys who were literally showing me that, like, they're like, yeah, like we don't know how to love you, like, or we don't love you like you love us, but like. And the main insight I got out of it was like, well, do you love yourself? Like, you're the first person who has to give yourself that love that you're seeking from other people. And that's my another point here, with how to better your life and health, is ask yourself, are you giving yourself enough love? Are you actually providing yourself with that care that maybe you provide others, or you would love to receive, or you're seeking from other people? And it comes down to literally everything. How do you wake up? What time you go to bed? Do you listen to your body? Do you actually know your desires? Do you know where to stop and when to just take a break? Do you know, like, if you're doing some sort of a destructive behavior, that do you notice it and do you do something about it, or it just going on repeatedly, right? And the cycle could be very long. It could be, you know like couple days, and then couple months you could be off it, and then again. So that means it's still there and you need to address it, because you can't just treat your body as just, oh, this is my liver, this is my heart, this is my brain. No, we're all one organism. And if something isn't working correctly or taking a huge toll, and if your brain, your mental, your heart, then everything will be affected by it. So after getting out of that relationship, it was very short, but I'm, not going to be shy in saying I was very, very upset, because I developed that feeling that I probably had for my father as well. So that person even looked like my father, funny enough. Uh, but I kind of started just realizing that it wouldn't work, even if, things were going better, whatever. So that was this. And another thing is that, and I already started developing some symptoms. So I started losing weight, and I'm like, yeah, this is how it works. I'm losing weight, or I don't know. I had very, very unhealthy image of how I should look. Put it this way, like, the physical appearance for me is very important. But also, I think I had that unhealthy image of, like, well, I should look this way, or I should be thin, or I should be small, and that's where, I deserve attention, or I deserve love. So when I saw myself literally being unhealthy, skinny, I thought it's beautiful. Even though right now people are saying, hey, you look so much healthier right now. And that was just very bad. Like, I wanted, those, like, we have people who's like, I wanted to tell you, but so, like, a lot of people told me, like, oh, I wanted to tell you that it was very, and I saw my ribs, like literally my bones. Like, I was working out, taking videos, and I'm like, wow, it's scary. Another thing is that the symptoms, right? So for those who might be experienced that, um, I started craving sweets like crazy. I can care less about sweet. Like, I have Quest bar for a lot of the time, and I know that this company actually stood for, like, people with diabetes. The person who first, found the first founder, his mom was diabetic, so he wanted to develop the product for her so she can enjoy it, but it also doesn't raise blood sugar. So for as long as I can remember, I have my, Quest bar, and I'm okay. Now, M&Ms, sweets, just random stuff that is like super like out, but I wasn't gaining any weight. So that actually enhanced my kind of like, um, behavior of eating even more. So what I feel right now was happening is that my sugar was like going up and down, going up and down. I have sweets, goes up and then it drops. I had no energy. That's another symptom that I had, like literally no energy. And you know what's funny? I thought it's normal. I thought, well, it's my life. So probably that's how it's supposed to be. Like, people around me, like, oh, it's hot in Texas, and also don't feel good, or I don't feel energized. And I was like, here we go. That's me. That's my case. Okay. So I was dragging myself out. I felt good, like when I, walking my dog, for instance, in the morning. But then once I get into some sort of a room, or, anywhere where it's like not a natural sunlight, I'm like getting down. So it was very hard for me to even get my thoughts together, because that was just like the state of like I'm kind of like, and what's interesting is that in at night I was coming home, and because I'm in such a drained state, I was drinking champagne because it's like, oh, it relaxes me. So here we go. That was ongoing, ongoing, ongoing. Here and there, I was taking Adderall because I'm like, well, I have no energy. I need more energy. That will also, what do you say? Made it very difficult, right, to even like just internalize, because it also kind of, I think Adderall gives a lot of brain fog as well, and that like that state of illusion. So all of that all together led to me going back to Belarus, and I decided to, take like a blood test. And funny enough, that I was such a huge advocate. Every one of my clients were taking blood tests every time. Like once in 6 months, I was literally forcing them to go to the doctor and get their blood test, blood work, and be sure that everything is working correctly. Because I always used to say, it's easy to treat, right, or to enhance certain things, rather than get into full recovery. And okay, so now we're actually in a very bad stage. So I didn't walk the talk for myself. I stopped, and also with the moving, like no insurance and stuff like that. So I'm like, I know it, later, 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 later. So it never happened. Maybe if I actually went to the doctor 6 months ago and we saw certain tendencies, maybe I could, like, maybe it would never happen, right? Like maybe it was like pre-diabetic state and we detected it, and that will turn into a better treatment, rather than me being in a hospital and having like all the IVs and shots, and like it was quite of a challenge. So in Belarus, took the test, also because it's very cheap over there. And my doctor called me literally, and she's like, you know what? Like normally I would send a person with this blood result right away to the hospital. And I'm like, what? She's like, you know that you're at 21.75, I think, or 22.75, and like 30 is already home. And I'm talking the numbers in Europe. So I know here it's like 170 or like 88. So those are a little bit different numbers, but like I was at 22.75, 30 is coma and a possible death. That's it. That was like, boom. Everything dropped. My life kind of like went in front of my eyes, and I didn't want to run away from it. That's another thing that I did. I'm like, okay, just and then stay, like stay. There's a thing. Just imagine the possibility that you can die tomorrow, and it's scary, but it also a huge wake up call. Everything that wasn't really a priority, and I made it a priority, or I thought it matters, or like I was doing this, and this, and that. Everything became nothing but my health. Like I'm like, I don't care what I need to do. Stay here, be in a hospital, whatever it is. I want to leave. I want not have more life. I am not done with my mission. I'm not done with things that I want to accomplish. Um, and I want to start fresh. So that was the moment where I decided that I'm not gonna touch alcohol anymore. There would be no Adderall or any type of drugs that enhances your mental capacity. And also, there's gonna be super clean food, because knowing what food industry right now, it's not even 5 years ago. Like when I got this, I looked around and I'm like, yeah, no wonder we all have diabetes. Like, not we all, I don't want to generalize, but a lot of people are getting there. And again, it could be COVID, right? Because that's also a virus that kind of alters your RNA, your DNA. It could be a vaccine. Who knows, right? Like, it's very hard to detect what caused it. But I believe that it's not only one thing; it's the combination. So when I like in traveling back, I'm like, there's no absolutely airports. They don't build in a way to help people eat cleaner, and everything around. If you just like literally get your face out of your apartment, it's like sugar, 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 more sugar and more sugar. No wonder, and that's actually a thought that came to my mind today. No wonder people say healthy eating is boring because, oh yeah, after a piece of cake, and after French fries, like deep fried briskets, like that are like super, like in the butter. Of course, chicken and beautiful salad and all the stuff would totally feel very boring to your taste receptors because it's like, yeah, duh. So I know for the fact, and also this is for people who maybe want to get into the more healthy eating. Know this: it will take time for taste receptors to reset to the baseline. At least that's how I call it. There's a baseline. There's like, we don't need extra sugar. We don't need extra kind of way of cooking our food for in order for our body to get all the macronutrients, micronutrients that it need, and also the satisfaction. Because if you choose to eat what you like, I literally have the same salad for over than 5 years. Like, I don't switch it. I know exactly dinner. This is my salad. I know what is it in there. My body is exciting, to kind of get this salad. I have pretty much same breakfast, lunch, and I have my healthy smoothies. So that's how I eat. I don't overcomplicate it. And you know what's funny? If you actually, when you eat, try this, and it's amazing. And it's also another discovery for me. I was eating the salad, and I'm like, I'm eating hmm, lettuce. That taste just exploded in my mouth. I'm like, wow, wait a second, what? And then I'm like eating chicken, and I'm like, oh, it's chicken, it's a corn, and it's also like, so when you actually stop and mindfully eat, I think that's where I realized what does mindful eating mean, right? Not when you eat and you watch something and you also typing something and you also, in that case, your brain, your gut brain connection, it doesn't record the things that you're eating. So when, like, you can do even run an experiment, eat with a TV, watching a movie, and just whatever, eat super fast, do whatever, they don't even pay attention to it, and then next time you can still watch movie, I think, but pay more attention to what you're eating and slow down. You're gonna feel full like halfway. Like, I actually decreased the amount of, well, like salad, because I used to, it's just a huge portion, um because I'm like, wow, I'm actually getting fuller in a couple bites, like if I pay attention directly to what I eat. Another good practice is to actually say some sort of a grace before you eat. I think this is ritual that we forgot, but I'll do it for myself all the time, just sitting there and just like blessing the meal and just saying thank you for this, because I think a lot of things we take for granted, and this is our health. I think the biggest thing that, like, human nation right now is taking for granted is the health. I started doing meditations for my liver, because that's where I believe everything comes from. I'm hugging it, I'm sending it love, I'm like bathing it in like heart and all the stuff. And you know what? It's working so far. What I've done. So, another thing is that that was very scary to me, is that I lost my vision. So if anyone is experiencing some sort of a sudden loss of vision, um, go check with your doctor. And I highly recommend everyone go check with your doctor tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. Don't put it in like a long box, because just check your blood at least at first, so know what's going on there. Um, so my vision went from being perfect, or like normal, okay, like it just 2020 is not perfect, it's just regular, it's normal. You can have better vision. um, then it went to and I was one time just sitting on my phone, and I'm like, oh wow, it's blurry, and I'm like, wow. And it was in Belarus. So I think it was like 3 days after I flew in. And I even texted my friend, I'm like, hey, what the hell? Look at how far I should keep my, phone to actually see it. I thought it's maybe stress, flying, blah, blah, blah. So I got glasses, and I actually went to the eye doctor, and she said it's just like probably because you work. You see, it's another kind of thing that could have just dragged me away from actually getting this diagnosis correctly. She said, "Oh, it's probably because you work like in front of computer all the time, or you do some things. It's probably that's why you losing your vision." And I'm like, "Yeah, probably." So I got glasses. It was plus the 0.75. 2 days after, I couldn't see shit in those glasses. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting thing. Why is that? So I went and I got double that amount. I couldn't see anything, literally. Like, and that's what's scary to me because I think again for taking for granted things, right? I never thank universe for good eyes, for good vision. After I lost the ability to see, I was like, oh my god, I cannot imagine being like wearing glasses right now all the time. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying for me it was new. So I got on insulin and it was the sugar wasn't dropping. They found ketone bodies in my urine. Sugar was kind of like getting a little bit lower, but for I think 3 or 4 days it was high. Also, doctors there or like nurses were very supportive, like, "Oh, it's so bad, it's so high." I'm like, "Thank you for encouragement. I can see it's high," but and she's like, "So bad, so bad, so bad." Like, duh, I know it's bad. Like, stop, you know. So I had two choices. I had a choice of going into poor me thing and everything bad. I'm gonna drop everything. I don't want to do anything. Why me? Why did I get it? What did I do wrong? And stuff like that. Or choice number one, that I obviously choose that one, is to, you know what? I'm gonna turn this into a huge lesson. I'm gonna deal with this. I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna do my best. And I am shocked. Like, let me put it this way. I know that my doctor told me you're a normal person and you can eat whatever. No, you cannot eat whatever. What is it? And what kind of advice is that? So you want me to put more insulin in my body so I can go and enjoy extra what? Extra food that makes me sick? It's unbelievable. And what I see, because I got into the, not a community of diabetics, but I start like people, some reached out to me, and I know actually a couple people here. I was shocked when I saw like stop that they're well, they're not supposed to eat that thing, like you gotta take this shit seriously. So, but what the treatment, right, is this is what get more insulin and go indulge whatever, it's fine, you can eat whatever. I can tell you that when I was pumping more insulin in my body, I felt like shit, bloating, constipation, and then I felt like I have three babies inside of me. Like to that point, my like, and then sugar was going up and then down, and I'm like, that doesn't feel right. So what I done, and I think those are not only things that diabetic person should do, but everyone. I started fasted walks, and I was doing it before, right? But I measure my blood sugar after 35, 40 minutes of fasted walk in the morning, and it's absolutely perfect. Now there was a one day when it was raining in the morning and I didn't go for a walk. I measured my sugar was 144. So 144, the normal range is less than 115, right? So it was way high. So I think that should be a protocol, not the fucking insulin, not get more stuff inside of your body, like so your body stop actually producing it on its own. So that would be something that I would probably advise to everyone because we all have that, and just because you're not monitoring your blood sugar also doesn't mean that it's actually in a good state, right? It doesn't go up and down, and it's such a stress to your body as well. High sugar, that is not bueno, it's not okay. So I started drinking celery juice. Heads up, don't drink it too much because that actually can develop kidney stones. So I'm kind of like rotating it. Maybe a couple days I drink it and then I skip it. I make some juices like ginger, pineapple, and lemons shots. So those are very good for digestion. I have my elixirs that I call elixir shakes. There's always protein, like a full scoop of protein there. They don't affect my blood sugar anyhow. Like I drink, I feel amazing. So I replace sometimes one meal because I found that a smaller amount of meals actually work better than if I don't eat the whole day and then I just obviously I'm hungry, like I need to eat. So that kind of like really, and I decreased amount of carbs I eat. I only eat potatoes that are cooled, which means they're already not so much of a carb agent, but they more of a like a starchy carb, so they don't really raise your blood sugar that much. Buckwheat, which is technically a seed, and it's not so much of a grain. And I bake my own bread, which I also had to go through some modifications with flour. Those are only three sources of carbohydrates I eat. I am not trying to play around with let me try this and let me, pump more insulin and I actually want a burger. I can care less about food right now. I can care more about my health and what it does on the long run. I am not going to be on insulin forever. I'm not going to uh, call myself a diabetic. So that's why I'm taking this seriously. I do not see people actually even doing that. Like they don't even talk about it. They just, hey, yeah, I have more insulin. That's fine. I'm a normal person. I drag more stuff that's very unhealthy, and I know that. So I can actually go more to doctors, and they can bill my insurance company even more. So we can promote the pharmaceutical here as well. So that was, and obviously protein. Like I eat protein with every meal. Um, cottage cheese or farmer cheese is very amazing for that. And if you're gonna take something from here, structure your day, like have the actual schedule when you eat, so your body knows when you are getting the energy. Like so it won't be like you're eating very sporadically and then all of a sudden next day you're hungry at 11 instead of 2, because you just like the waves. So get on a good schedule. My schedule is usually I have breakfast at like 8:30. Then I work out. By the way, workout, I tested it. I skipped one day. Not one day, I'm lying right now. I go there 3 times per week, and I started there. I also don't work out very long. It's usually 40 minutes because after that, what I see is my sugar actually start really dropping low. So I kind of cut it short, it's like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Um, then I have a shake, and then around 3 or 3:30, that's when my body is getting hungry. That's where I have lunch. And I know for you it could be different, but like that's my schedule. That's already what I used to. I have some sort of a snack in between. Usually those are blueberries or any type of berries or cottage cheese. And then around 9, I have my salad. So I'm good with this, and my body kind of get used to it already. So I would highly advise you to, after we're done, just sit down, and structure everything for yourself. The way you plan business, the way you plan finances, you have to plan your health as well. And yes, it gets sometimes very overwhelming. It's like, oh, I'm tired, but I have to cook. But then when I'm getting into that mindset, I will say, all right, yeah, then die, then just like whatever, like don't take care of yourself. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not doing this. And once you get into this habit, it becomes like it takes me less than 5 minutes to get my meals for like next day. Less than 5 actual minutes. Always remind yourself, like set a timer, and you get better and better at doing this. For me, cooking right now takes maybe an hour to actually get everything from scratch because I'm multitasking when I'm cooking. So, and I already, it's like a habit. I don't really need to even think what should I do. But I highly encourage you to get to this skill because it will pay you off lately. I would also say schedule, some sort of activity. Could be yoga, could be I not gonna lie, and I'm not one of those people who will say, yeah, do whatever you want. Straight training, nothing can compare with that. You need weight, like regardless. Because even doing stuff with your own body may be challenging in the beginning. In a month, you already won't feel it. Like do an experiment, start doing push-ups. You may struggle with first five, but then next week you're going to do them super easily, which means you're getting adapted to this. So you need to increase the load. I'm not saying go and be a bodybuilder and get into health, like heavier weights. What I'm saying is that you need a structured progression with your workouts, because otherwise it won't work. Like there's no other way around it. It could be different types of I would not probably advise to go on like group training, on a crazy group training. What I see, like I don't go there. I would not advise anyone to go there, because there's no cardio preparation. Your cardio system, your heart is ready for it. So be gentle to yourself. Maybe hire a coach. There are so many apps that you can also download if you don't know, what to do in the gym. Hire a coach for a month. Ask questions again. Let him just like, because I know from a lot of my females clients, they were intimidated just to get to the gym, because they're like, well, everybody there, they're already doing something, so I don't even know. I don't want to like look like, like I'm not from this universe or something. And yeah, I can see that for sure. It could be very scary to get somewhere the first time. So in this case, take a friend with you. It's always better to kind of figure out, stuff with your friend. Download apps like YouTube. Jesus, the amount of workouts on YouTube right now, crazy. Just get there. Just use resources for yourself. Schedule it. So straight strength training, number one thing. Then you can supplement with yoga. Then you can do whatever. But if your muscles are, and they atrophy, if you don't use it, muscle is that organ. You don't use it, you lose it. So in the long run, the most amount of death that happens here is because people fall. Old people fall and they break their hips. They get into like surgeries, and they can really take that surgery because it's of the age. So what I would say is that if you start, and there's never too late, if you start actually implementing this and investing in your health by just getting to the gym, and or even simply, and you know what, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to work out from home. Like, you need that environment. When you get into the gym, you're like, all right, everybody's working out, I'm gonna work out too. When you're at home, you're supposed to rest at home. Like, but in certain cases, you can get some dumbbells, 5 pounds dumbbells, 10 pounds dumbbells, and just do simple things like squats, push-ups, some shoulder presses. You're fine. But you're gonna need to go to the gym, because there's no way you can do it from your home. So that's another part. And probably we'll be wrapping up right now about stress and mental health. Do not think that what you feel, what you experience doesn't matter, because it does matter. And for someone, it could be nothing. For you, it's important. So if you feel that you want age, and I just beg everyone not to get there, because it's very hard state to get out when you kind of already halfway, to the deep, deep water, and it's very hard to get out of there. Just schedule a normal, like rest periods for yourself, right? Meditation. I can sit down and meditate for hours. Is it a preferred method for me? No, because my lifestyle, yeah, I like to move. So what I do, I meditate while I'm walking. So how is just I start with simple breathing in and out. I'm trying to connect with earth, just meaning like I'm grounding myself there. I'm also noticing the sun. I'm saying hello to the sky. I'm like just kind of getting into my senses. If there's a wind, I kind of try to feel how it blows on my skin, you know. And my favorite meditation is actually like gratitude. I start with gratitude. I literally say thank you after what happened. I cannot stress enough how grateful I am for my body to like taking so much shit that I've done in my life. So it's number one thing that right now I'm like, thank you so much for just getting me through these years, because the amount of stress and just pressure it received from me um, from there is insane. So I started that gratitude practice. I made gratitude also certain things, like in my life, like my birthday. I was literally just hugging all people I know, because I think this is just amazing when you in like an amazing community. So after that, I my favorite is just to get into the kind of dream state, and I think that's one thing that we stopped doing. We stopped dreaming, right? So we kind of live day by day in whatever wind blows our way. But then, like we surprised that we get somewhere where we didn't want to get. So because yeah, like you have to plan ahead. When you traveling somewhere, probably it's not like, oh, you know what, I'm not gonna use any maps. I'm just gonna go by my intuition. And it's fine, but you're gonna end up somewhere like, losing a lot of time. So what I'm saying is that like my favorite meditation is where I'm just trying to maybe go by certain areas of my life and to see, okay, so what is my career dream? And I just allow myself to go nuts. I'm not like holding myself back, like, oh, you know what, that's too much. Okay, be ambitious about that, right? Like, I think Elon Musk didn't think when he was like, I don't know, at he's 15 that he's going to be that man who's he right now. But also, don't hold yourself back. Like that's what drives you, your mission, your beliefs, like that vision of life. That's what drives your rest of your behaviors and your environment. So make yourself comfortable in your dreams, dream big. And I really believe that when you dream big, your energy raises as well, unless you dream about hurting other people, that probably doesn't count. But I don't think like we have these people here. So when you dream big, you have that excitement, like you're on a kind of natural drug. So you're getting high and you're like, oh, let me do this, let me do that. All of a sudden your energy increases, it elevated state, vibrations. Now you meet people, now, like doors open. So your life is actually getting better and better and better. So do that while you're walking, like that meditation part. And also schedule some. So my deal breaker, and I have boundaries. I posted a lot of things about like also boundaries. I think the first thing that we should do is to get boundaries for ourselves. Like, what is a deal breaker? For me, deal breaker is to be kind of like in a working state. I'm gonna say like I never probably don't think about work because that's just what I do and that's what my mission and my passion is. But like Saturday and Sunday, I allow myself literally do nothing, but do those activities that don't bring me, like I don't know how to say that, monetization, or like I go and watch soccer. I go and do like this Saturday. I'm going to, I don't even know what it is. I just signed up. Wheel throwing. It's like the um, pottery thing. So I guess
Oh
one
yeah,
part
yeah.
of it
Yeah.
is the something wheel, whatever.
Like it spins.
Yes, yeah, it spins. So I'm like, you know what? Let me try that. Let me try that. But also another thing, um, what another thing is that I now value my time to the point where I do not try to like spread myself thin into going everywhere. Now, how they say, like, I felt so guilty at one point when I started just trying to get every hole and like get everywhere. When I've heard some sort of a big YouTuber influencer saying like, oh, you've got to have this. If you don't have this activity, that means like your life is imbalanced. And it kind of got into my head. I'm like, oh, maybe, you know what, maybe. So I'm like, yeah, I have to go and I have to find things. So what it became like a overwhelming experience of scrolling through events. And I'm like, well, you know what? I don't want to go anywhere. Like I really am good on my own, just like even just internalizing things after the week. So like Saturday and Sunday, if I feel I wanna, go on a hike, I go there. but I'm not gonna make myself guilty of not going there, you know? So try to tune in and like set some schedule for yourself, and it has to be, oh my God, it has to be on your schedule. If it's not, it's never gonna happen. Like Saturday, Sunday, let's say I'm allowing myself to just explore. Let me explore life. Let me explore things. Maybe I go play volleyball first time. Maybe I go to book club, something that, and you probably know what is it you like longing, like what is that you desire. So don't feel guilty if you hear all the people who have this kind of crazy freaking schedule, how they like wake up at 5 and then 5:15 they're already reading, then 5:35 they doing the meditation, then they go to cold plunge. And I remember we had the conversation here, so the guy was going on with his schedule. I got like anxious. I'm like, and somebody asked him like, do you have a girlfriend? And I literally couldn't hold myself, but I'm like, what, girlfriend with this kind of schedule? No, there's no space for the girlfriend over there. So I feel like we become super perfectionists in like, let's be so productive, in our time, where what's most important is that you feel in the flow, you feel in your nature. I let my body rest after I came back from Belarus. I didn't set any alarm in the morning. So I was getting in bed around 10:30, and I was waking up at 9 for 2 weeks. That's how much sleep I needed. My body needed. Now I'm naturally 10:30. I'm like kind of like, okay, I'm already there. 10, even 10 yesterday was like 9, and I'm very happy about it. Um, and I'm waking up at 7. So I may set up an alarm for 6:45 just to push it like to the 15 minutes if I need so. But so far I kind of schedule things, and don't be afraid of trying. It's just like, oh, like people say, like they schedule something, and they try to do certain activities and it didn't work, and they're like, you see, like it doesn't work for me. No, it's like going on a date with one person. It's like, you see, this is not my future husband. Yeah, sure, there's only one date and one person, like, or like, oh, love doesn't exist or something like that. So you have to try, you have to fail, you have to get those kind of like, not, I want to say it's failure, I want to say those things that didn't work, and just like, okay, so maybe I need this 30-minute extra if I want to meditate or read a book, right? Instead of like waking up the same time, trying to fit it all activities into like 1 hour before you go at work or something, and then like, didn't work, or be anxious about it. Or set priorities as well. Like, as I said, like for me, my time is so valuable right now for myself that I'm very, very careful when I'm choosing what to do. Activities, circles, community. We in Austin, there's so many events happening literally probably every day, every minute. But I know that I'm not gonna overwhelm myself. Like I have my focus. I know what I'm doing. Like I have the course that I'm putting together, the breakout plan right now, so it's almost ready. I have another course, neurographics, and I'm focused on that. Like that's just a like a laser sharp focus. And if I ask myself, if I go to this event that late at night, will it help me with my goal and where I'm going? Or will it actually sabotage me and I'm gonna be pushing through my health next morning to get there because I still want to get there, right? But just because I choose that kind of immediate gratification of going somewhere, I'm gonna regret it tomorrow. And most of the times I say, yeah, no, I like this has more value than this event. And whatever I feel like going to the event, I'm gonna literally plan it ahead. So I won't have any activities like today. I knew that, it's gonna be like our circle and we're gonna talk about health. So I literally didn't have anything today because I knew that that's my one important thing, and I need to have, my state of mind, my flow, so I can actually, be in help here, not just like, yeah. So, whew, that was quite of a performance. If Katerina, okay, do you have any questions? If you have any questions.
Hmm. I wasn't prepared for questions.
Maybe
I'll
you
think
want to share
about some.
something. I don't know. Let me do. Do you mind? I'm gonna
Yeah, I
turn.
don't mind.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think diabetes is just something that I think we're going to see more and more of. And I think definitely very related to stress. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, your hormones are so impactful. They help you with like your body in terms of processing food and
Mm,
regulating. And then you add on top of that, the stress will disrupt that. It definitely
yeah.
really
I
pretty
think your
big.
hormones is pretty much like you in a way, you know,
Yeah, I know,
like they can
definitely.
literally drive you. Like if we, and since it's a women's circle, sorry, when we have, let's say, period, right? Like, and some women, they literally go crazy. Like
Yeah,
I notice myself that probably around that time, I'm getting just a little bit, I wouldn't say depressed. I don't want to say this, but I'm more on a kind of lower spectrum of emotions. Like weird thoughts are coming in, like yesterday I was like, haha. And like today I'm like, well, what's happening? And then I like look at the calendar and I'm like, oh, my cycle is so I wasn't really aware of it. I thought, wow, like I'm getting depressed again or whatever, what happens? Let me find this. And I'm like, oh, those are hormones. And your hormones are
yeah,
changing. And I know like there are cravings also involved, right? So I think it's so important to be, if you want to be perfect somewhere, be perfect in taking care of your health. Like literally, that's probably one state where you should be probably perfectionist, meaning like if you eat right things that doesn't affect a lot of like sugar spikes, or you eat authentically. Also, I think that's very important when people trying to eat a lot of um, meals or food from different cultures. And I understand you can try it, but when I see like people are getting it every day and they're like, oh, I feel so much, so bloating and stuff. Yeah, because like that's just not in your genome. Like you just eat something that you haven't had when you were little, right? So
yeah,
I think that's very important. So when you keep that balance, right? And I'm not saying don't try things. I think for me, when I and it's been a long time in my head, that I can care, like when they say, oh, you only have one life, so go and eat whatever you, what kind of phrase is it? Yeah, I only have one life and I want it to be long. I want it to be mindful. I wanted to have a good mental state. So no, like having extra triple burger with all the greasy stuff, like that won't help my life to be
yeah,
very, fulfilling and happy. So I really think that just, the food industry is like crazy. Like, the way they make smell and taste and everything is just crazy. So I think it's becoming harder and harder to kind of fight. And also, like be aware of certain labels, especially when it's cooked, because there's no regulation for it. Like there was actually a study done. They took Starbucks coffee, um, fancy coffee, obviously not Americano. Then Subway sandwich. Then there was some sort of a sandwich that's already pre-made, like packed, in New York. I know that they sell it in New York. What else? Let's say those three. So, funny enough, only Subway was actually on point with calories, even a little bit on lower
mhm,
spectrum, like the actual calories. I think Starbucks was off by 300 calories. And the reason why I remember it so much, because I had like presentation, and seminar for these kind of type of things, for coaches, those who wants to like kind of also coach people in nutrition. So I'm like, don't believe in labels so much, because like think about 300 calories off when you like on the diet, let's say, right? And I want to say diet, just a lifestyle, and you're like, why am I getting weight? Like, I don't need anything. Well, yeah, because this is what it says on the label, but
yeah,
because there's no regulation, because there is no need for them to actually check it and think about how they make it, like just logically. Every barista, they all have the same menu, right? Like the recipe, but I don't think anyone, like it may taste kind of similar, but still you can notice certain differences between these Starbucks and let's say that Starbucks, right? So Also, don't be afraid of returning your coffee. We just actually spoke about it, right? So when you ask for like sugar-free syrup or something, like the
Yeah.
flavor, they give you like really sugary thing, and most people will be like, oh, whatever, I'll take it. No, what do you mean you take it? Like you want to feed your body with crap, literally just because you have uncomfortable feeling of returning this, and it's nothing about it. It's okay. It's okay to return something that you pay for. Like most likely, like imagine you go to the store and you pay $32,000 for a Chanel bag, and they're giving you, I don't know, like uh, Aldo or like Steve Madden for like, I don't know, $100, and you would be like, you know what, I'll take that. No, of course you're going to return it. So the same thing, like treat your health, like don't be afraid of asking question, like what's inside. um Ask for, like there are a lot of places right now that also cook without like oils, and meaning like the extra butter when it makes
Hmm.
everything taste like way better. So yeah, I think that's just very important things to consider, and think first about yourself, rather than just thinking that you feel uncomfortable of just asking the waiter, like to replace it because it's actually their job. Yeah. So, Laura, do you have any questions, or do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I have a question. So regarding the our nutrition, right? Like I've been in many different ups and downs with the way I eat. I used to be very strict about having a diet. Then I started learning more about things like, oh, actually, the more conscious about the type of oil I use or the sugars, trying to read the labels to at least, be more mindful of the things I have at home. The thing is that I was like, at some point in my life, I was like being very strict with my diet, and I was feeling good about how I looked physically. And then, but I thought it was a little bit almost like, I don't know if the right word is toxic, but I was like so obsessed about what I was eating and what I was not eating. And like, I had to follow this diet, and it was more about how I looked. And then I decided to like listen more to my body and try to be more conscious eating, but without being that strict. But then I realized I also started kind of gaining a bit more weight. So it's like, how do you? I know this is more about your health, but at some point I'm also feeling like it's impacting how I feel like I look, and like it's just I've been struggling between balancing the two, and how I'm just curious if you ever had that struggle too, and what helped you
Oh yeah.
bring your focus to like, what, this is more about how you feel inside, and like the weight doesn't mean anything really.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say horrible things right now. The way is actually, to me, it means a lot. So my physical appearance means a lot to me. To me, that's my value, right? For some people, it's not. I also think it's really unhealthy to what we promote right now, right? Like we promoting obesity, saying that it's okay to feel like this. It what important is what you feel about yourself. Yeah, right. If it only wasn't about health, and that obese people have heart attacks, they die faster. So why are we promoting this into masses, saying that it's fine? So I really feel that, and I'm gonna speak for myself right now, right? I really feel that the phrase to me, it's more important how I feel inside than outside, was hypocritical. Like I couldn't say that, like, I feel good about myself when I don't really enjoy what I see. And it's not for anyone. That's important, I think. So what's good for you. Right? Like, what is it? So I guess step number one is just define where would you feel comfortable, right? So you said you were like you lost some weight. Were you comfortable, and what weight was this, right? Like, so how many pounds you have to kind of let go to get into that stage. And be realistic with this, you know, because like I had people who's like, I want to be like, I don't know, 20 pounds less. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's just not going to happen just because your baseline isn't there. You know, that's going to be extra hard work. If you want to do this, we can set it up. But if you feel like let's just be okay with losing, let's say 5 pounds first, and then you see how you look. And many people change their you know opinion when they lost 5 pounds, and they're like, you know what, I feel freaking okay. I love how I look. Like I'm getting all the compliments, but most likely they felt good about that. You know, like I've never done anything to look like, you know, let's face it, we're all about like it just it's wired. Our brain is wired for attention, you know, from any perspective, psychological, environmental, from the just behavioral, from the evolutionary psychology, because we what is our purpose? We procreate, right? So every kind of inside, deep inside, you choosing a partner who would be very good genetic material, you know. So I feel that when it comes to like this, to like how I stay in balance, I always have my inner judge. And let's say, even if the judge is a little bit more on the scale of perfectionism, I'd rather be there than I lower my, like, you know, my plank. And I would be like, ah, fuck it. I just, you know, I'll just eat here and there. Because again, the moment, and I'm pretty strict about my diet. And I was ever since I got into like the body that I, and it's always work in progress. Like I can't say that right now I can just eat whatever I want, even if I didn't have like this disease right now, right? The diabetes. And I can just stop working out. And yeah, I'm probably gonna be like gaining weight because I'm aware of it, because that's my tendency, you know. So there are people who can eat whatever and they look okay, they look fine. So I would say determine the weight first, where you're going to be comfortable, and set just the goal for, okay, maybe I'll set 2 pounds for now. That's very realistic, very achievable. And I don't think it's going to be a lot of extra work for you, right? And find the way I was setting up meal plans for my clients is basically we determine the amount of calories we need to kind of get to that point, right? So obviously you need to eat a little bit less or eat like, let's say, not in that great deficit, but increase your activity, right? The easiest way is to have your steps, right? So if you're doing 8,000 steps, for instance, maybe you don't drop food as much, but you increase, like you give yourself extra 30 minutes, for instance, of just walk. Like don't run, don't do crazy cardio, just walk. It's going to be enough for you in the first place. And maybe substitute right now for an easy way, substitute certain full fat things, right? Like with maybe reduced fat or lower fat. Like let's say I have, I don't really use a lot of dairy products, just because I don't think it's still good the way it used to be. But if I use cheese, I choose cheese that a little bit less. And you know, you can see the calories. The regular cheese portion 90 calories. Like the say, if we talk about shredded cheese, for instance, and the reduced fat, it will be 50. So it's like half. So if you have the habit of using cheese every day, then maybe just doing like 20% change will lead to 80% result. So just cutting that, you know, and like, okay, what would be a deal breaker for you? Like for me, I don't eat desserts after I eat, never, because I know the way it impacts. I know that there's already food in me, that insulin is kind of getting it to where it needs to go. But if I eat a little bit more, there's just there's more than my body needs. So I either have to work tomorrow like harder or do extra cardio, or I just keep the dessert, or I have some time in between so I can engage with that dessert. Also, I don't eat desserts, but it's for easy kind of example. And just cutting something out that is not so detrimental. like, or would not be noticeable for you, because think of it as a lifestyle than as a diet. What can you set up for yourself that you can follow forever, like forever, not like periods of time. That's why diets, like, they fail all the time, because there is a mindset of, I'm going to get on a diet, get to where I want to be, and go back to my previous habits, which will what bring me back, right? So as much as, like, I see here in Austin also, like, everybody cooks with like butter and like, or like full fat, like raw milk and stuff like that, absolutely freaking amazing, but it's calories. It has double amount of calories, like, yeah, you can say it's healthy, but calories are still calories. We can't go anywhere from there, right? So I also think about it this way. I'd rather not have it. I have addictive personality. Probably from my story, you already got this point. I'd rather not have it than I sabotage myself, and it's gonna take me a couple of days to get off this kind of high taste that I want more, because technically, by the research, the cake, let's say we take a piece of cake. I don't know why I'm about cakes today. Um, you are satisfied with one little bite. That's it. That's all you need, because it's more of a your brain kind of wanted, not so much of your body needs it, right? Like, it's not that you're gonna die without this piece of cake. Your brain wants it. Um, one piece. But then what we do is, because it's so, oh my God, the best cake ever, I'm gonna eat it and I'm gonna have yours too, kind of thing. It's very hard to stop, like very hard to stop that behavior. And once you do it one day, second day, third day, that's you already getting into that cycle where it's just going to become a normal behavior for you. So I think about this way. I'd rather not to allow myself certain things, and I'm okay with this. I'm not going to die. I have fulfillment from other areas of my life, rather than indulging on something unhealthy in a way, or over calorie, like overeating certain things, right? So I have a tremendous amount of orgasm when I'm eating my salad, because I created it. Like, there's literally like everything you can imagine in that salad, but I love it. So I don't even want anything else, you know? So I would say create a perfect plan. And when I used to work with clients, I always ask them, create me a perfect plan, the one that you can follow anytime, weekdays and weekends, because people forget, like, they follow good diet like Monday through Friday, and then Saturday comes and they're like, whoa, okay, and you can gain a lot of weight, or like even within one meal, even though people say it's impossible. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, you can totally like gain from overeating one meal. So that portion control should become also kind of like, not control, but portion awareness, I would say, right? Just what I talked about in the beginning. Try to notice what you eat, recognize the taste, chew a little bit more, and just pay attention to when you kind of sort of almost not hungry. That's probably a good indicator to stop, because that's actually takes a little bit of time to your gut to send that signal, we are full. So it takes 10, 20, whatever, like, depends, like everybody is different and personally, but it takes time for you to record that data, that, oh, I'm actually full. So that's why overeating happens also, because it's like you kind of need to wait a little bit, so kind of your body will pick it up. Create that perfect plan, get it into the any type of calorie counter, app, right? You don't have to track it your entire life. But I would say that people are also like those people who like, oh, let's do intuitive eating. Yeah, and look at those people's background. They were either coaches or nutritionists or bodybuilders. I already know by doing it so long that this is the 4 ounces of chicken. I know how it looks, so now I can go and say, oh, I eat intuitively. No, it's just a skill that I acquired. It's not my intuition. My intuition would bring me more stuff into my plate, you know. So yes, in the beginning, I would say try to measure things and just get it into your app, you know, like how much calories you eat. Do it for a week. That's all. That's all you're gonna need. And then you're gonna see, okay, so this meal is approximately 300, 400 calories, right? And it also depends how many times you eat. This is how much it looks. So now when I'm going out, right, and I order something in a restaurant, I actually know how much I need. You know, I actually know the portion. So I eat, and I also know the feeling of how much 300 calories or 400 calorie feels, right? Like that satiation level. So I'm gonna eat that, and I'm gonna ask the rest to go. You don't have to clean up your plate, you know, even if it's like a little bit, if you, or just send it away, you know, I'm fine, I'm full, I'm okay, I got my stuff, right? um, so do that. And it's literally creating your dream lifestyle, like when it comes to eating. Like, what is this? Obviously, get familiar with labels, you know, so you can replace certain meals. Like if you go out and you know that, okay, this is going to be probably, you know, some sort of family gathering or friends, maybe I'll eat very light in the morning or I'll skip breakfast, although I won't recommend literally fasting towards this meal because your hunger will kick in to the point because you like all of a sudden dropped in energy source and supply for your body. So your body would be like, ooh, because it doesn't know what's happening. It's like, oh my God, it's like, you know, we're starving. We need more food. That's why you're kind of getting a lot. Be very careful around holidays. That's where people tend to gain weight during this Halloween, then Thanksgiving and New Year's. And it's usually never, this weight never taking, like never goes down. So be very careful with like around, maybe do some extra walking, right? Maybe reduce your consumption of food during the week, knowing that you're going and, you know, to have some sort of a celebrating dinner or something like that, right? So it's literally strategic planning. Like there's absolutely nothing. I understand it could be really a little bit frustrating when you don't know the information and it seems like a lot, but if you actually sit down with it, it's very logical, right? Like if I have a cup, most likely there's as much liquid as I can put here until it goes like overhead, right? So same thing with like your calories. If you have specific calories for the week, you can literally plan however you like. I tend to practice a lot of fasting in the morning just because I like that sharpness. I like to get into work on a fasted state. Um, and there was a period where it came naturally to me. I just didn't want to eat, right? And now if I have very light breakfast because I don't feel good when I have like, you know, stuff, a lot of stuff, or I have like my shake, I'm good. I'm usually either can drive to the gym and just have my shake. So just do that, and you can include things also into your diet. Like if it's a cookie, like I would never take like when I was doing the plans, if there is a cookie that is like absolutely has to be there, I'm just gonna fit it in. That's it. Yeah, have a cookie. You know, it's not gonna hurt you if it's within the range. It's okay. Again, 80%, 80/20. Always apply that thing. You know, don't be as rigid as like I have to eat only clean stuff. Like for me right now, I have to eat only clean stuff and I choose to eat only clean stuff and I feel good about it, right? But I feel that I need that amount of discipline because if I have a lot of choices, it's going to be like, you know, I have this, I have that, and I have this. And then I tend to choose not towards my benefit, you know. So I'd rather have that discipline. That's why I probably like competing because that was very like, you eat this. And it also takes off that kind of analysis, paralysis by analysis thing, you know, when you like have to like, oh, should I eat this, should I eat that? No, eat whatever feels authentic to your body, whatever you feel digests easily, you know. See the time for yourself when to eat, be mindful about going out, maybe have a little bit like lighter meals before you go out and maybe lighter meals after you go out, maybe fast next day in the morning, right? Have a shake, something very light. So you won't see any type of like weight gain and loss like this. It will be very static, going down, and we can talk more about this if you have questions. Yeah.
Thank you.
Did it help?
Yeah, yeah, a lot of great tips.
Yeah, I saw you kind of in the beginning, you were like, and then you kind of exhale. Like, okay, yeah, okay, it's getting better. It's getting better. Okay. So thank you so much for joining. Again, we are in the group, so if you're experiencing any types of like challenging, just let us know. That's why we have the group chat for our female circle. We're there to help each other. Okay. So thank you Instagram for watching as well, and I'll send you recordings a little bit later. And I'm gonna save this so you can watch it too. Bye bye.
Okay.
Bye bye.